Hey there folks, and it's Brian with Foxfire Armor again, and today we got a bunch of stuff we got to go over, and I'm going to try to keep it as short as humanly possible, but things are definitely just getting crazier out there. Nothing seems to be getting better, and I want to make sure you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest information. So, to kick things off, the first thing we're going to talk about is the container ships that are basically just flooding the China Sea over there. All the ports around China, and pretty much everywhere around the US, both the East Coast and the West Coast. I'm going to put a graphic up, hopefully right above my head, and you can kind of see just how bad everything actually looks. So these are flooding, these are ships that are moving in and out, and it is what it is at this point, and we're going to have to deal with that. So that leads me into the next piece that has really got me concerned as just your average normal citizen, goes to the grocery store, has to shop for food, you know, not necessarily living paycheck to paycheck per se, but definitely stretched very thin these days. And that is the diesel shortage and the diesel prices that we are currently seeing right now. So for those of you who have not been paying attention to the diesel crisis, diesel fuel is average $5.50 right now. That's nationwide average, $5.50. That is a massive amount of money for trucks that have 100, 200 gallon tanks, especially some of these haulers that are going from the East Coast to the West Coast. So for those trucks, they're spending anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 to fill up their tanks to haul goods from coast to coast, or even just from, say, California, Los Angeles Harbor to Chicago. And it really doesn't look like it's getting any better. And in fact, the supply and the production of diesel is getting dangerously low. So for those that don't really understand what this means for you, it means the grocery prices that we're already seeing, which are just, I mean, they have skyrocketed. My grocery bill has probably doubled, and that is going to get worse. Like, it's just matter of fact, the cost to get good from here to get good there is going to go up if the cost of fuel to transport said good from point A to point B is going up. So keep an eye out for that. It's definitely coming. I don't know how soon. I'm hoping it is not too soon, because honestly, the way things are going, things are just getting so bad so quick that I don't think many of us, maybe some people in the prepping community, did see it coming or predicted thinking it was coming. But I think a lot of us, myself included, who are in the stock markets and who are watching the housing bubble and have been watching a lot of this. I mean, it's been a slow burn. The Fed, it's just, you know, little bits and bits, and it's been happening for so long now that, I mean, it was inevitable at this point. The rate hikes now are going to be making it worse. So I just personally didn't see it coming this quick. I thought we had at least until the end of this year, maybe into January of next year, before things really got bad. But I mean, it's getting to the point to where I think we're going to see, within the next 3 to 6 months would be my guess, very empty grocery store shelves, or we're going to see the cost of goods double, triple what they're at right now. So keep that in mind with your shopping, and as you're prepping whatever goods you're prepping on the side, keep those price hikes they're coming. It's just an inevitability at this point of when. Keep that in mind as you're shopping. So that's a good segue into the stock market. And what we have been seeing over the last essentially week and a half is a utter crash. The stock market has been plunging at record levels. The Dow has been down, I think it's like 11% now. NASDAQ's down like 17% over the last 2 weeks. The SPY is down 10%. SPY just today, which is the S&P index, just dipped below 400 for the first time in a very long time. And the Fed is still planning on doing a rate increase in June and another rate increase somewhere towards the end of the year. My guess would be probably in the October timeframe, if not sooner, and more hikes. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these numbers and the things that I'm telling you as far as the stock market is concerned. So along with the stock market, crypto is plunging. And for those crypto bros out there who are like, oh, Bitcoin, it's decentralized, it's never going to be, you know, tied to the system. Well, unfortunately right now it is. It is what it is. It's a speculative currency, and we're seeing that in places like Bolivia and I believe Argentina and a few other places who have actually now taken Bitcoin as their main primary currency backer. It's not doing what everyone thought it would do, and you know, that may change in the future, but for now it seems to be very tied to the markets, right? And the markets aren't doing good, so crypto's not doing good. Now, that's not to say that crypto could bounce back and the markets stay down. I'm not a, you know, one fortune teller who can see into the future and predict these things, but it could happen. We'll see what happens, and we'll see how these things play out. All right, so the next thing, and I don't really like talking about this a lot just because it's hounded on so much, and it's gotten so ridiculous at this point, but the Russia-Ukraine situation is not getting better. In fact, it's getting worse. Putin just came out with a discussion, and basically was a bunch of his generals and stuff have been talking to the press, and they basically want to take back what they believe is their land, and they're going to do it at any cost, and they feel like the I don't really want to say the word, but the Nazi party that is basically taken hold in Ukraine over the last, I don't know, century, essentially, basically since the fall of Nazi Germany. To them, that is their scapegoat. That's their excuse for continuing into Ukraine, continuing to take more and more land in Ukraine. So the big issue with this is, like I said, it hurts the U.S. economy for the plain and simple fact that now Russia is only taking payment for oil in rubles. And the other thing is the Russian ruble is tied to the gold standard again. So everything that the U.S. government and economists all thought that, oh, Russia's going down, their economy's tanking, we've tanked it, it's never coming back. That's just not the case. The Russian economy's basically stayed the same since forever. You know, yes, they're not exporting as much stuff and they're not importing as much stuff. But really, the only people that hurts is us here in the United States. And the big thing that's going to hurt us with is steel. And that is one thing that a lot of people don't understand is Russia and China are probably two of the largest exporters of steel across the world. And both of those countries, obviously, we have issues with at this point. And so expect to see a lot of shortages in anything that requires steel. So stainless steels, anything for building materials, pretty much everything, steel ball bearings for repairing trucks, just steel in general, we're going to have shortages. We're already starting to see it, especially in the warehouse industry. So things like Amazon and Uline and a lot of these big companies that have big racks and machineries and conveyor belts and stuff that use a lot of steel components, they're already starting to see shortages in these. So the next piece, and we saw this in 2020 leading up to that election. We have another one coming up here in November. It's the midterm primaries, and crime and violent crime is just up across the board. It is what it is at this point. It's bound to happen. It happens every election cycle, it seems. But for those of you who are watching these videos and those of you who are trying to stay prepared, the one thing I'm going to recommend is, if you don't already, please, please, please get yourself some sort of home defense, or if you can get a concealed carry, you need to get something to protect yourself, your family, and any preps that you have. And if you haven't done that, you need to do that now, because any of the major cities right now, you're just seeing violent crime skyrocketing. Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Minneapolis, it is getting bad. And I don't foresee that getting any better, especially with the way the economy is going. The lower and worse the economy gets, the worse the crime gets, right? It's just, they're byproducts of each other. So food scarcity, as we get food, crime goes up. It's all levers that get pulled in the economy and the way things work, unfortunately. So if you're in cities and you have the means to get out, now is probably a good time to get out. If you're stuck in the cities, make sure you have a way to protect yourself, protect your family, and harden your home. That is one of the number one things I can recommend, is harden your home. So the last thing that's going to bring me to is, I've said this, I kind of hinted to it in the last video, but are we headed towards the next Great Depression? Fact of the matter, we're already in a recession. No matter what anyone in the media wants to tell you, no matter what anyone in the Biden administration wants to tell you, the fact of the matter is we are 100% in a recession. The housing market is basically exactly where it was at right before it crashed in 2008. In fact, it is even worse than where it was at when it crashed in 2008, and it's the crash this time is going to be of an epic magnitude, and it is going to get bad. So I don't know if we're going to see a true depression, but right now all signs point to yes. So you should be doing things like getting ways so that you can can food, Mylar, so you can store food, start getting things that are long-term shelf life, rice. I know people don't like the rice because of arsenic values, whatever. People have been eating rice for centuries. And let me tell you, there's not enough arsenic in there to kill you. At least not in any fashion that, unless you're eating a 5-gallon tub of rice to yourself in a single sitting, then maybe. But if you're washing the rice the way you should be and cooking it properly, you really don't have to worry about it. So just ignore the noise out there about that one. Beans. I know people don't like beans a lot of times, but really, you got to be stocking stuff that you can either vacuum seal or store in Mylar, things that are going to have long shelf life that are going to allow you to stock up and store your food for an extended period of time, just in case things really do get to the point to where we see another Great Depression era style collapse. So I know a little doom and gloom today, but I really just wanted to get this info out to you guys, and that's really all I have for today. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is memberships. So I'm going to try to start doing some stuff that's behind the paywall, and there's a reason for that, and that is specifically because YouTube doesn't like some of the content that I really would like to get to you guys. So the memberships are 99 cents to start off, okay? It's less than $1. It is $1 technically, right? It's $1. It's 99 cents. It's $1. It's less than a cup of coffee, okay? That's every month. So if you can't spare $1 a month, I get it, not a big deal. Just please like, share, subscribe. And until next time, folks, it's Brian with Foxfire Armory.